Thank you very much, Kyle. My name is Lisa Caruso, and I am a professor within the Mechanical Techniques program and the coordinator of the program. I'm so glad that you're able to join us for this open house. We'd like to showcase virtually what we can and what we have going on in our shop space. So, like I said, I'm Lisa, and Brendan, he'll be following up after I'm finished my presentation, and he'll be speaking to the welding program. So here's a little glimpse of the machine shop space. So the Mechanical Techniques General Machinist program takes place most of the time in the machine shop. There is obviously lectures and theory and math and things like this that go along with that. But let's have a look at the program a bit. So from the perspective of where you're sitting right now, we have the plan. So finishing high school, first things first, right? And it's been great that through the high school that you guys are face-to-face once again, and actually maybe getting a little bit of machine shop hands-on experience at your high school, which is nice in comparison to how things were running out last year at this time. So the second thing you're going to do is you're going to come and take that one-year Mechanical Techniques program if you're interested in the general machining program here at Niagara College. Once you're done the one-year program, you'll find a place to start your apprenticeship. So you can go straight into an apprenticeship from this program, and taking this program will definitely make that journey a little easier and that transition a little easier for you. And while you're doing apprenticeship, you earn money and you learn. So you would attend a night school program to give you more foundational theory and experience relevant to your trade. And then you're going to complete your apprenticeship, then you'll be a certified journey person. And once you're certified, you're certified. And there's many avenues you can go from there as well, right? So you can continue to climb the ladder. It's a really endless opportunities once you have that certificate to do so many more things in your career. So the Mechanical Techniques program, 1-year certificate program, or 8 months, so 2 semesters. You do not need any prior experience. You do not need high school machine shop. You just need a little passion and drive to get this going. We will provide you with the building blocks to seek an apprenticeship and get an apprenticeship in the machining field. Some of the more common machining trades are your general machinist, your tool and die maker or tool maker, CNC machinist, and mold maker. So these are the actual certified Red Seal trades that you could get from our program. Now, what is a trade? Right? So some people say, well, I'm going to trade school, or I'm taking a machinist trade program. So a trade is a skill job that requires specialty training. Most of the skills are manual. So typically a trade is your on-site training. So when you're learning a trade, you're getting paid while you work. You have some night school classes, and you're learning from a skilled journey person or someone that's been in the field for many years. So you have mentors along the way that guide you and help you learn and make all these decisions when it comes to your tooling and your machining. So trades require so many hours. So each year you need 2,000 hours, and depending on the trade, it could be 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. So you have to have so many hours of training as an apprenticeship before you can write that final exam to become a Red Seal journey person or certified in your trade. So having this pre-trade certificate is a really good first step to becoming an apprentice. So it's funny when you look around the space around you that it's almost everything you see has had something to do with machinists. So everything you see on this slide would not be possible without a machinist, tool maker, or mold maker, someone in the machining field. So it's actually hard for me to think of something that a machinist did not produce in some form or another when I look around. And even the machinery and the tools that they're using to produce these items were in fact produced by a machinist. So you have to ask yourself, if you're considering this as a job opportunity for your future, is it a good choice for you? So do you like to work with your hands? Are you hands-on? Do you want an active job? Are you comfortable sitting at a computer desk, or do you want to be moving around and actually doing some physical stuff? Patience, yes, it's key. And sometimes things that are such high quality and high standards, they take longer, and you have to have that patience and drive to work through that. Do you take pride in your work? A lot of times when you complete something that you've machined, it literally becomes a work of art, right? And you're proud of what you've accomplished with this. Are you a problem solver? You could be given a part that you have to make something fit to it. So you have to think about, well, what is it used for, and what are the processes? And so you may be forced with having to solve some of these problems. Attention to detail, that is another thing. If you're good at that, this may be a trade for you. And being a perfectionist, along with that attention to detail, there's high levels of quality that you may be called upon to do. So yeah, if any of these qualities ring a bell, it might be a good choice for you. This is the Frankin Technology Center. So Niagara College is built up of many wings and different buildings. And so this Frankin Center is where we host the technical trade spaces. So the welding lab, automotive, machining, various, and like you can see with the pictures here, we have the laser lab. So all these wonderful labs you'll find in these Frankin Technology Center. So this is the entrance that we would typically come in from the parking lot. And once you hop through there, down a hallway and then down a little narrow side hallway, you find the little gem, our machine shop. So entering into this machine shop space, as I know Brendan's going to go through some PPE in a little more detail at the end of this presentation, you do have to wear your steel toe and your safety glasses, and have to be mindful of all of our safety precautions that you have to take within this shop space, following guidelines. Of course, there's COVID guidelines and all that jazz happening at the same time. So we have a very well-equipped machine shop. We have 10 manual lathes and we have 10 manual milling machines, and our shop space can house, we cap at a 20 student limit in our machine shop space at once. So, but we have all the machinery to do that. Within the machine shop space, we have a lovely bench work area where at the front there's a television where this allows us to give a little presentation, go through the processes that we're about to engage into. And along with the bench work area, we have our vices for the actual bench work and the filing and whatnot. And we also have measuring areas. We have surface plates with, which is where we'll do our precision layout and measuring. And we have saws, so you can gain saw experience. On the left, we have the horizontal bandsaw, and then on the right, there's the vertical bandsaw. And so you will learn how to use all this different machinery to cut metal, various metals. Oh, and not last, but not the very least at all, we have a lovely CNC department, or computer numerical control machinery department. So we have 4 Haas milling machines, and we have 3 Haas lathes, and it is state of the art. It is wonderful for training. We have additional trainers on the side that allows to do simulations. Our second semester of the Mechanical Techniques program dives pretty deep into the CNC portion of it, which is fantastic because this is a really big thing in industry right now. So we give the students some fantastic training where they're making parts and manually making programs on this machinery. So let's talk a little bit more about the CNC part of the Mechanical Techniques program. So within the, like I said, the second semester, you have 6 hours a week that's dedicated to the CNC portion. And so you can see here, there's a few learners, which are just the same controls that are actually at the machine. So you have an opportunity to just work on the learner, input your data and do some simulations here. So you'll create code manually. And so we learn how to create some basic programs, and the students do that through these machines. There's also CAD/CAM software. So we end up using Mastercam software, at the college. And so we have an hour a week to engage in creating a part. So this is actually a student program that you see in front of us, where they've drawn this part up and they've simulated tool paths. And then once they've done that, the code will be automatically created. We can then feed it to our machines. And once our setups are complete, it will run through this process and actually do the machining. So pretty fantastic CNC section, very impressive. So we have quite a large amount of tools, a big variety of tools within our program in the machine shop space that you're going to be using. So we have, oh my goodness, so much precision tooling. We have a square, we have so many indicators, and the second picture in is showing a height gauge. And then we have in the third picture in, we have some hole measuring instruments. We have telescopic gauges, small hole gauges, inside micrometers, bore gauges. So much precision tooling. We're very well equipped to accomplish anything, to be able to machine anything and precisely measure it out. Continuing on with the tooling, here is some fine examples of a variety of the left side showing you a variety of lathe tooling that we will be doing. So running on the metal lathes, we have turning and knurling and threading and parting and boring, like so many different operations that we will expose and teach our students to do and gain confidence doing that and achieving proper sizes. Other inspection tools and drills, thread inspection tools, radius inspection tools, setup tools, and then we have some milling cutters, drills, drill chucks, and mills, you name it. We've got it all. So after taking the one-year program, you should have the confidence that you need, and you have gained a lot of knowledge to put you into an opportunity where you can move into one of these careers, CNC operator, mold maker. Like I mentioned a little earlier, general machinist, industrial millwright. So millwright, which would focus on machine repair as well as replacing parts that machine may use. Machine tool builder, tool and die maker, quality control, just to name a few, but there's definitely many more. And there's a lot of other opportunities that you could have that are not a red seal trade, but industry is still in high demand for people that have these measuring skills that can help produce quality parts. And so now I am going to pass the slides off to Brendan, and he is going to wow you with how lovely our welding department is here at Niagara College. So thank you again for listening to my bit on the Mechanical Techniques program. And hopefully I'll get an opportunity to meet some of you later on this year and perhaps for a tour. So thank you.
Thanks, Lisa. Hello, everyone. Welcome to our virtual open house. Thank you for joining us and wanting to learn more about what we have to offer at Niagara College. My name is Brendan Ryan. I am a professor of welding and also the coordinator of the welding programs at Niagara College. And we are also located in the Frankin Technology Center, amongst many other trades. So here's our program overview. So we have hands-on experiential learning. So we're using our hands, we're getting onto the tools, we're learning about the trade in real time. We have a full-size weld shop and fabrication lab. We're also an accredited Canadian Welding Bureau and Technical Standards and Safety Authority test center facility. So we do in-house weld testing as well. All students are going to gain practical experience taking metal fabrication projects from drawings. We cut, we form, we put everything together with using a variety of different welding processes, which we're going to get into later on as well in the presentation. So when you leave the programs, you're going to have an understanding of what is out there in industry and how to inspect welds, how to create the best possible product. Here are our program outlines. So in the welding programs, you can take a one-year technique program, or you can do a two-year welding technician program. The year one program is the same. So whether you're a two-year student or a one-year student, year one is the same for both. So you're going to learn a variety of things. You can notice we're going through math. So just your math associated for trades. We've got drafting, so you're going to take a look at drawings. We've got health and safety stuff. So everything to be safe on the job. We follow the Occupational Health and Safety Act for all our regulations in the college. We have an introduction to your welding and cutting processes. So oxy-fuel welding, cutting, brazing, plasma cutting as well. Layout and fabrication will get you onto all the different tools we have in the shop. So we're going to see some slides of what type of industrial equipment we actually have in the labs for you to gain experience on. And we start with shielded metal arc welding, otherwise known as stick welding in the flat position. Computer applications and communications, that's helping you build your resume, helping you understand different ways to create, say, a bill of materials for a company that you might work for. We also start introducing students to semi-automatic welding processes, so your gas metal or your flux core, otherwise known as MIG welding, and we start getting into weld quality. After that, you're well equipped to be in industry with some basic welding knowledge and experience on industrial equipment. However, if you take the 2-year program, we take your skills and we further develop them. We also introduce students to welding inspection, codes and standards. Why do we weld to various codes and what to look for? Layout and fabrication too. Again, we're in the shop, we're using the industrial equipment to a higher standard now. We learn about distortion, metallurgy, rigging and construction, super important out there. We discuss scaffolding, ladder safety, working at heights. We have crane training and signals, how to properly and safely move large objects. And then we also have shielded metal arc welding to the overhead position. We have general electives to take as well, so that just broadens your knowledge. We get into destructive and non-destructive examinations. So we weld things, we destroy them, we see what was inside those welds, whether they were successful or not. We also start students on pipe and pressure welding, and we take that semi-automatic, so that gas metal and flux core, and we take it out of position as well further. And then students finish their term learning about the gas tungsten arc welding process or TIG welding. Additional benefits to our program. So if you take the 1-year certificate, you get that hands-on experience like we were discussing before. So you learn about your hand tools, the industrial equipment, the welding processes in shielded metal arc welding and gas metal arc welding and flux core arc welding, how to interpret those drawings and how to create projects using the industrial equipment. If you stick around, as I mentioned before, we enhance those skills and we further develop the student to be more confident in all of those processes. And we get to learn about more advanced project making. If you want to become a welder apprentice, so in our trade, you can be a welder apprentice, which is technically roughly 3 years of learning on the job, and you still come back to school at evening. So you'll be performing work at your general work. You'll come back typically 2 nights a week at nighttime to continue your learning. The additional benefit to our programs, if you take a 1-year or a 2-year program, you can write these exemption exams. So if you become hired as an apprentice, instead of coming back for 3 years of night school, if you took a 1-year program, you just have to do 2 years of night school. And if you did our 2-year program, you only have to come back for 1 additional year of night school learning. Fun fact, welding shares a common first term with Welding Techniques 1-year certificate. Yes, so this is important to know, because if you just join the 1-year program and you really enjoy it, you're thinking, I want to learn more, I want to take my skills to the next level, it's very easy to transition into the 2-year program. So if start with our 1-year, if it's still for you and you want to learn more, sign up for the 2-year program. You're already pretty much into the program. You're already going to get registered sooner. So it's something to consider, even if you're in the 1-year program. Here's our shop photos now. So we're getting into our labs. We have 2 labs. One is a larger lab with a lot more equipment in it for our layout and fabrication. The other lab's slightly smaller with some shop equipment where we'll do predominantly just the welding techniques. So on the left, you're seeing a whole row, a bank of welding machines. We all have multi-process welding machines that we use in each lab. And on the right, that's the same lab, but it's kind of a wide shot of all of our equipment, which we'll get into more detail in the next slides. In this slide, we have on the left our grinding booths. So they have designated grinding booths with an exhaust system. So we're taking that particulate, any of those, the dust or any of the harmful things in the air, and we're keeping that away from the shop, so the air quality stays very high. On the right, we have the smaller lab where you'll see a piranha iron worker. We have a horizontal bandsaw, and you'll see all around the exterior and the center of the lab, all of our weld booths that are individual for our students. On the left is that same lab, that smaller lab that you're seeing, and you can see a better angle, a better view of our individual lab booths. So we have the weld curtains, so it mitigates that light that you're seeing from welding. But again, every student will have their own multi-process welder to use with various weld processes that we can teach. And on the right, that smaller lab also has a designated grinding booth to take out all those dangerous particulates from the air. On the left here, we have our oxy-fuel cutting machine. So this is the automated cutting. We use oxy-acetylene to cut. On the right, we have the piranha iron worker, so a 50-ton piranha iron worker to cut flat bar. We do notching and nibbling. We can do punching and bending as well. Here is our hydraulic our hydraulic shear. So we'll take large pieces of material, generally flat material that we'll get delivered to the shop, and then we can cut it into smaller segments, and then students can take those smaller segments and continue to refine them on the additional equipment. On the picture on the left, that's our hydraulic brake. So we can bend different materials, even up to a 1/2 inch thickness. So we'll have students learn that particular piece of equipment, how to bend and measure out properly for your bend allowances. On the right, we have a horizontal bandsaw in the larger lab as well. So the horizontal bandsaw is great for those long lengths of pipe or channel or flat bar. On the left, we have a pan brake. So for that thinner gauge material up to about 16 gauge, we can bend manually for our certain layout projects. On the right, we have an abrasive cutoff saw. So another way to cut material if you don't want to shear it or use other equipment. We also have a couple drill presses you can see in the background. So part of that layout and fabrication that you're going to learn about, you're going to have to drill various holes in a lot of projects as well. On the left is our steel rack. So just like any industrial workshop or workspace, we'll have our material delivered to us and we'll store it on the metal rack in long lengths or full-size sheets. And then it's up to the students to really take those longer pieces and use all the shop equipment that we offer to cut it into smaller pieces to form their projects. On the right is showing us our rolling machine. So we can do various templates with the students and have them roll certain things for hoppers or squared around, things that we'll learn in our layout and fabrication class. On the left here, we have pedestal grinder in the smaller lab. We also show our weld rod oven. So our shielded metal arc welding rods are stored in the oven or in the cabinet underneath. And on the right, we have a oxy-fuel pipe cutter. So we'll get students to cut their own pipe, put a bevel on that, prep it, and weld the open root pipes. This slide is showing us a variety of welding processes. So when you join our welding programs, we'll take students through a variety of things such as shielded metal arc welding or stick welding. We have gas tungsten arc welding, or known as TIG welding as well, on the top right. On the bottom left, we have gas metal arc welding or MIG welding, and also flux core arc welding. And on the bottom right, we still even have oxy-fuel welding and brazing, which might seem more of an old school process, but it's still used today. And it also just helps develop your skills as a brand new welder and will help with all the other processes that we do. Here's an example of our cutting processes that we teach students as well. So on the top left, we have oxy-fuel cutting, but manually. So the students are taking those torches, we'll cut shapes, we'll cut bevels, straight lines, and make sure that students become confident in manual cutting. On the right, we have oxy-fuel cutting as well, but that's that automated oxy-fuel cutting. So we'll put it on the track burner and we'll cut bevels on our plates. On the bottom left, we have carbon arc cutting with air, so gouging, which is used extensively in industry as well. And on the right, we have plasma arc cutting, so another useful technique for cutting steel. Here's a couple projects that we have. So on the left, in our layout and fabrication classes, students will develop their own templates. They'll make hoppers squared around, they'll make cone shapes. On the right there, on the same picture on the right, we have a miniature hot water tank. So we're taking those skills and developing things off of the drawings on the board. On the right, it shows the setup that we use for oxy-fuel cutting, welding, or brazing. In the middle there, you see a nice little dice project that we can braze together and drill holes in and fabricate as well. On the left here, it shows bend test specimens. So part of our learning in the welding programs is learning those skills that you need to develop it to become a competent welder, but we also test you too. So on the left, you see those bend specimens, some artistic projects. We even have aluminum that we use in the lab. So we'll use the MIG gun for welding aluminum, or we'll do TIG welding of aluminum. And on the right, those are what the bend tests look like before we destructively test them. So we have plate tests for structural testing. In the background there, you see a 2-inch pipe. So we'll do pipe testing as well. And we see different varieties of horizontal and vertical stick weld. Here's an example of our gas tungsten arc welding or TIG welding class. So we'll start with mild steel in all positions, and then students will transition to learning about welding on aluminum and also stainless steel. One of the fun projects we have in that course as well is we'll also end with making a project. So here's an example of one of the projects that students will do in their gas tungsten arc welding class. It's to make a torch holder. So again, we use a variety of welding processes, from gas tungsten arc welding to gas metal arc welding, flux core, and shielded metal arc welding. So this little project here goes with you when you graduate. Put it in your toolbox, and it can hold a variety of the torches that we will use in industry. Here's an explanation of our personal protective equipment. So as Lisa had mentioned before, every shop that's in the technology center generally has a basic personal protective equipment requirement. So in every shop, students will have to wear their steel-toed boots. In our shop, you also have your own welding helmet. But what you'll receive in the welding program when you start is you're going to get safety glasses, so CSA-approved safety glasses and CSA-approved burning glasses. You'll receive a clear face shield for grinding purposes. We'll have gauntlet gloves, so leather gloves, reusable earplugs, a welding jacket. And currently with COVID-19 protocols, we also have to wear a mask while we're in the college. When you're in the welding booths, we also provide a fire-resistant mask to cover the existing mask so that nothing catches fire. When you come to the college in our program, you are required to provide your own CSA-approved safety boots, as well as a CSA-approved welding helmet. So those are the two things that the students will have to provide on their own. Proper work attire made of natural fabrics, such as jeans or heavy work pants, are also required to be worn. So you can't wear any rayon, polyester, track pants, something that's flammable. So the easiest thing to do when you come to our labs is wear a pair of work pants, or the most popular thing that students wear is a denim or a pair of jeans. If you have prescription eyeglasses, you can switch your clear safety glasses out for a pair of over the glasses safety glasses. So you can continue to wear your regular glasses. We have specific equipment that fits over top of those so that you don't have to worry about wearing contacts, which could pop out or which are also flammable. This is kind of example, these slides, of what you'll look like in our lab. So everyone will have their boots on. Here we have a welder that has the clear safety glasses, their welding gloves, welding jacket, and that fire resistant mask over top of their mask that they wear in the labs. Variations of our standard personal protective equipment. So that clear face shield when you're grinding or doing anything with sparks. Here we have the burning glasses on, so we switched out our clear safety glasses to have a tinted pair of safety glasses. So that's good for oxy-fuel cutting or anything that's not as intense as the welding light, but it still can make your eyes sensitive. Again, same thing, clear face shield over top, so when you're doing your cutting, you won't have any sparks come at your face. So just the slide before that, we had a weld hood that you could use as well. And then we have a slide here. We have a welder with just his weld mask on. And if we go to the next slide, you'll notice that underneath our weld helmet, we're still wearing that protective equipment. So you always have to wear your safety glasses and our burning mask right now for our protocols. So welding, as well as many other trades, can seem intimidating or dangerous. At the college, we take pride in keeping everyone safe. So Niagara College follows the Occupational Health and Safety Act for industrial establishments, and that ensures that all students use and apply all safety-related tools, their PPE or personal protective equipment, and they follow all safe operating procedures. Graduate opportunities. What happens when you leave the program, either a 1-year or a 2-year program? So you can find a job as a welder. Welding is a voluntary trade, so you don't necessarily have to have your red seal. You can become a welder and do a variety of different techniques. So you can be a construction welder, manufacturer welder, shipbuilding is a big industry as well, pipe welding, pressure vessels. One thing that students can also consider is if you're not really that fond of being on the tools and welding all the time, our programs provide an excellent opportunity to become a weld inspector. Or you can even be weld sales associate. The other route is a welder apprenticeship, which we discussed before. Get hired as a welder apprentice and complete your apprenticeship and become a journeyperson welder. Student success. So where are some of our grads? So we had recent graduates. Tasia, she's working at SteelCon Engineering, so heavy fabrication. They make a lot of things for large structural buildings using the flux core arc welding process. Abhishek is at Pro Cisco, so this is predominantly all stainless steel TIG welding or gas tungsten arc welding on food grade or medical grade equipment. And Derek is now joined the Boilermaker apprenticeship, so he's in making and repairing boilers for large industrial establishments.
You know, I can mention that both of these trades are in extremely high demand right now. I can speak more to the machining field, obviously, but you know, it's been for years and years, our local industry in the Niagara region have been looking for someone with at least 3 years of experience in machining, and they are realizing that they just can't find that. So as much as we all want someone that's well seasoned and whatnot, and then has the training done, they're not finding that, and they want to start training people. The machining industry is full of people ready to retire. It's the sad truth. A lot of people think that being in industry isn't a good option after school, but I can assure you that it's a fantastic option. You know, you earn very good money being a machinist, and you know, it seems like that's just getting even better and better the more that they need us, right? That they're willing to pay a little more for us, so which is good. And I think, Brendan, you guys are experiencing the same thing in the welding, are you not?
Absolutely. And I think that there's always been a kind of a stigma about the trades. It's starting to change now. So in the past, you had tradespeople that had a great career, but always thought, you know, I want something different for my kids, or, you know, there's something better out there. When really, in all reality, as you mentioned, Lisa, the trades are fantastic. There is such an opportunity to earn great money, but also enjoy what you're doing. I'm finding that in any trade right now, especially anybody that's hiring, I'll use welding as an example. They don't just want a welder now. They want somebody that can weld, but can you fit? Can you read drawings? But can you paint? Can you, you know, even go pick up steel? Like it's so versatile what they want all tradespeople to be. I find too that if you're thinking about maybe not sure which trade's right for you, a lot of students that we've had, Lisa and I have had together, it's maybe they take 1 year of the machinist, maybe they take 1 year of the welding, and then they go out into their career. So a lot of things are interchangeable, and you learn a lot of similar things that give you the confidence to get hired.
I see.
Excellent. So we do have a question here, and I think it's a great one. From the past, do women have the same success rate as men within these courses? I know it's old school, but is there a big worry about women's going into the trades? I think this is awesome. So we'll actually have both of you answer that from each of your perspectives.
Go ahead, Lisa. That's a good question.
I'll take it. Yeah. So, you know, you're right. There is still a bit of an old school mentality going on, but I'll tell you that women actually do really well in machining, and men do too. So I'm not saying they don't, but I've heard feedback from employers that women have a really good attention to detail, and they might even push themselves a little bit harder, because we do feel like there's a bit of pressure, like that you have to prove yourself in a male dominated field. So because of that, we actually tend to maybe shine a little more. I am a tool and die maker. I don't just teach machining without a background in it. And it's been a very successful and rewarding career for me. Every time I've started at a new place, I feel like it just took the guys a month or two to realize that I was just one of the guys, and that I could do the job just fine. And I think with more women going into the field, that we are breaking down that stigma slowly but surely. So yeah, I would encourage you 100% to give it a shot.
That's great. I can't agree more. So directly answering just the first part of that question, the women in the welding department are very successful. They They are generally the top students that finished any program 1 or 2 years. And I think it's also having to do with what you mentioned, Lisa, that pressure, that outside pressure, that stigma that they have to compete with the men. I took the program myself, so I'm a graduate from the 2-year program. And when I was in the program myself, I would have argued, are women better welders? Since I've been out in industry as a journeyperson welder and worked with many fabulous women that weld, and also now teaching the course, they are the best welders. And it has to do with that attention to detail that you're mentioning, especially if you take the 2-year course and you get into that gas tungsten arc welding, where you're using both hands. You have to have patience. You have to have a high degree of weld quality. They are the top students in that part of the program.
Yes,
Actually,
it's a demanding physical job, and we're capable. Government regulations don't say that you need to lift 200 pounds to be able to do this job. You don't. It's, like 40 pounds is a good baseline for what you might be required to lift. That's the way it is in any position, in any job. So, and yeah, it can be a dirty job, but I mean, you go home and have a shower and you're still a lady.
You're absolutely right, Lisa. Like when I look at industry now, and I come from a construction background, and I've done a lot of the heavy lifting and physical work, which at the time, even when I was in industry, wasn't the smartest. There's equipment out there. There's things to make it easier now. Work smarter, not harder, is always heard out in industry now too. So there's so many different avenues to not have to be so physical anymore. So that goes for male or female. It doesn't matter. There's ways to work
You're
a
right.
lot easier in the trades.
100%. Yeah.
That's actually amazing. So first off, amazing answers and perspectives from both of you. Apparently the student that asked that is actually enrolled starting in January. They said it helped them a lot in terms of their consideration next steps. So that's wonderful. We're very much looking forward to seeing you there.
Great choice.
Yeah, so if you hang out with you soon, Brendan.
I'll tell you another thing about being in industry in the machining field. When I started my career in the 90s, I have never been unemployed. I mean, I have, worked for small places where, maybe it was time to move on, that their future maybe wasn't looking the brightest, but I've always found another job. I remember in the recession in 2008, the only reason that I was off of work is actually because of maternity leave. And so I had come back from my maternity leave to a company that was really struggling. And I was like, wow, I've been here for 15 years. What do I do? There's a recession. So I went and applied during a recession for another job. Coming off from that leave, I needed to work. And I had 3 job offers by the end of the week, just because I had the trade and I had my experience. So yeah, if you're in the trade and you can do the trade, you will be employed forever. You will not be out of work.
That's a great point, Lisa. Like if we look at Southern Ontario, I've lived here my whole life. When I finished the program, I looked out west, I looked out east. I was fortunate enough to get an apprenticeship in the Niagara region. But growing up, you heard all these stories of past employers. We had such a huge industrial working environment that, say you lost a job or wanted to switch jobs, you always hear that I walked across the street and got another job. It just doesn't work that way anymore. But I will say that having the experience in the trades and taking these programs, just as you mentioned, Lisa, those skills, they don't go away. And those skills will allow you to confidently apply somewhere else or find employment quickly, and not have to worry about your future.
What's the best way to find the right trade for yourself? If you're currently in high school, I would say that they probably have some, resources and camps and online sessions that you can attend. And attending this session right now might open your eyes to something that you might find interesting. So, I threw a few questions out there saying, well, are you good at this? Do you like this? Do you like that? And so those are some things that if that is you, that you might want to try it. And the good thing about a 1-year program is, you can try it out too, right? Like we have a lot of students that take the welding and the mechanical techniques program, because they're kind of related. You see, like, we work together, welders and machinists, we work together a lot, and we're found in the same sort of industries. I mean, if you want to email us, we can help you discover and go through some things on what you feel you're good at, what might really pique your interest, and we can work with you and help you sort that out if you like.
Great thing about Niagara College is that with the trades all being together like that, see some of those virtual tours, right? Kyle mentioned we eventually, hopefully, will get to being able to visit the campus again and visit those shops in person. Once you see the different facilities, the different types of tools we use, or talk to the people that teach in the programs, it really starts to open your eyes, maybe make you think of different questions you haven't really thought about yourself, and that'll help narrow things down. But as Lisa said, reach out to us, ask us those questions, and we'll help find, the path that's right for you.
We have two great questions here. So when is timetable selection available for students currently enrolled in welding? Can you just clarify for us, are you starting in January, or when specifically would you be starting? While we're waiting for that person to come back and let us know their timeline, I really am interested in this one. This is a great question. How effective is the prevention of chemical contamination within the industry welding, both long-term and short-term?
Chemical contamination within the industry. Are you talking for personal health? I'm assuming this means chemical contamination for yourself as a person. In the trade of welding, it's always been, think about welders 50 years ago, right? So the personal protective equipment or the environments were traditionally dirtier and more exposure to different chemicals. With the way things are fabricated now, so from your electrodes, your welding rods, or your welding wire, shielding gas, that sort of thing, the industry has changed. So it's changed from insurance purposes and because generally we want to live longer. So in welding, it's very common to be wearing a half mask respirator underneath, especially when you're welding things like chromium or nickel. A mild steel isn't as dangerous as those. So those things are what employers are looking at. So those dangerous fumes, things that you'll, even grinding dust. The personal protective equipment that's available nowadays is a lot better, a lot more efficient. And the environment that you're working in is closely monitored too. So there's still jobs out there where you are going to be quite dirty, greasy. Maybe there's more, sparks, that kind of thing. But the industry has changed so much that they want you to be working for them for your lifetime, and they want you to enjoy your life afterwards. So I see changes every year. They do produce chemicals. So when you are burning weld wire, things are getting vaporized pretty much in the arc. The coatings and the steel that's being melted is producing fumes. But for example, at the college, the whole time that we're training, we have an exhaust system in place that removes all that hazardous material away from the welder and creates a really healthy lab environment. But I will say, out in industry, things are changing. It's a much safer trade than it used to be.
Awesome. And then that question about course selection, that's for somebody who's looking to start welding in January.
Okay, so timetable selection, I'm not 100% sure. I put in the chat, visit niagaracollege.ca/dates, and you can look for your full-time online timetable selection when it begins. It should be relatively soon. I'm going to guess more into December when they finalize the numbers.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure either, but yeah, the fact that you shared that link, we should be able to figure it out from there, I would say. I want to mention, while people are, maybe thinking questions, I'll just sort of chit chat through things. But as a machinist, a lot of people do think, oh, when you're a machinist, you work on automotive. Not true. I mean, it's true that you do, but that's not it. Guess who makes bone screws? Yep, machinists, right? So any kind of broken bone needs a screw, you're calling your local machine shop. And we use specialty steels for items like that. I've got a lot of experience in mold making. I made a mold for Dentabones, right? So your dog's treat, that was made from a mold, and yay, that was me, made that mold, right? So there's a lot of different things. I machined a little part that was a camera. It was a prototype for a new camera that was coming out, right? So there's so much. It's just so broad. There's a lot to do. Aerospace, right? There's a big aerospace facility in the Niagara region. yeah, top secret stuff sometimes. Like we did a top secret thing for the army, right? Like they it was back in when Afghanistan was when everything was going on pretty heavy down there. They would drop supplies from the air, and we built this like sort of box that encased all the supplies that fell with a parachute. And yeah, it's not so top secret anymore, right? But at the time, so the used to build that was when it landed, it kind of broke apart, and then the people that were living down there were able to use those supplies to help building with their and whatnot, right? So we made it like a dual purpose thing. So there's so many things. It's not just automotive. Yeah, the automotive's pretty big, but there's a lot of other things. Mm-hmm.
I think any program that you decide at Niagara College, the most important thing is going to give you that confidence to get out there and find a good job and continue to learn.
Awesome. Well, thank you, everybody. Thank you for joining. Sincere thank you for Brenda and Lisa. You guys were absolutely amazing. You have their emails. So again, keep in touch. Remember, today is not the end of the discussion. Thank you all. Hopefully see you soon.